explaining.
Right. Well, what you said was nonsense. Bro.
Which part?
Everything.
Which part?
Everything.
Have you heard what the meaning of nothing is based on what I said? Did you understand what nothing is based on what I said? Okay, what is nothing?
According to you, the absence of everything.
Okay, and which part of that is nonsense?
Well, I'm waiting for you to carry on.
No, you said it's nonsense, so qualify it. Or is it just a claim?
Okay, it's not nonsense. Now carry on.
Good.
Right.
So now you have understood what nothing is. Does it exist? No one's
Do
laughing.
you want to ask the question again?
Why? You have a problem hearing?
How can nothing exist? Then it will be something.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The penny dropped.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So carry
Good.
on.
Now that we know that nothing doesn't exist, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Can the universe come from nothing?
Nobody says it does. Again, this is taking you
It's
to
a
this
question.
point. All this bullshit is taking you to this point that because some people say the universe comes from nothing. Nobody says that the universe
Andrew,
comes
don't say
from
nobody.
nothing.
Have you questioned everyone in the world? Lawrence Cross. Lawrence Cross.
Yes, I know Lawrence
Yes,
Cross.
he said.
Yes.
What did he write? Come here, Mansur. Come.
Yes, he wrote.
Actually, I need to go pray Maghrib quickly.
He wrote a book called A Universe from Nothing. Do you know why he used that title?
Do you want to put this on?
Do you know why he used that title?
Before you do
It
that,
was to get people
Oh,
to
wait.
actually look into
No.
his book and to see that nothing in his term was not nothing.
so it's a
You know
clickbait.
that? Yes, it's
But Mansur, no need to go there. He already has said
Okay.
it cannot come
Yes,
from nothing.
it's
So let's go to the
clickbait.
next.
So now we've got some nuance
Okay,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
So-
So he knows that it's not
okay.
nothing because it's quantum flux within the universe. It doesn't require universe, right?
Did he
That's what his
explain? Did he
mathematics
explain in
show.
his book why he wrote this title?
Yes, and I mean I've not got his book on me.
Yeah, what did he
but
say?
I can come back and we can go through his book if you want to.
Yeah, I have the book. I've read it myself too.
Good, good.
Yeah. So has he explained?
Where's
He's gone for a quick prayer break because our prayers are fixed time. He's going to come in about 5-10 minutes, not too long. So the universe obviously then cannot come from nothing. So according to Professor Cross and according to yourself, you could be another professor. I don't know. I didn't ask. Has the universe always been there?
the present scientific consensus is that it's been around for about 14 billion years.
Okay. So
I'm not fixed on an absolutist position. As a scientist,
what does it mean it's been there 14 point something billion years?
I'm not Lawrence Krauss.
Now, what does it mean? You talked about the current scientific consensus. What
As
does
we
it mean?
understand it, it starts off at a finite point and it expands over 14
You have to go
billion years.
you slowly. When you say something age is 14.7.
Well, yeah, whatever.
No. I want to make sure you're not talking nonsense. Like you are saying it's nonsense. I want to make sure you're not talking nonsense.
Yeah.
So when you say something's age is
No,
no. I want to make sure scientists are not talking nonsense.
Yeah.
So when you said the age of the universe is 14.7 billion years old, so if you go back, is that when you say it started, right? You said it started.
What scientists will say, and this is me as a non-physicist trying to impart this information,
But don't worry, you have a physicist here, right in front of us.
is that's the point in which the time and space continuum that we're in now is thought to have started from a very small point.
Time started from that point.
What we know of before then, we don't know anything, which is what I was saying to your colleague before,
Okay.
that we don't.
So time started
we
from
don't
that
know.
point, right?
No, the time as we understand it in this continuum started then.
So basically, time existed before that.
You've heard of, I'm sure you've heard of the theory, and there's not a lot of evidence for it, but it's a logical theory of the multiverse.
I have heard about it, but what I want to know, understand from you, did time exist before the Big Bang when things started?
I'm not
of our
going to say
universe?
yes because I don't know. I'm just being honest.
What do you
I
think?
don't.
What's time?
It's irrelevant what I think.
No,
I'm
what's
not-
time
Can
you?
I just say something because you keep interrupting me? I don't have any emotional attachment to my beliefs, right?
You do hold beliefs, right?
I do hold beliefs, but I'm a scientist. So if the
What's your
evidence
specialty?
shows that I need to change my beliefs, then I will change my beliefs based on the evidence. That doesn't lead me to an absolutist position, right? It leads me to hold that this is what the evidence shows. And that leaves it open for new evidence to come in and either firm up what we already believe and build on that to make it more likely that that's the way it is, or actually, no, this overthrows what we thought before because there is now new evidence that we hadn't even considered before, and therefore we have to take a different direction.
That's the scientific process you're
Yeah,
describing, right?
That's my belief process.
Sure. What do you understand by time as a scientist? You said you're a scientist. What field is your specialty in?
Really, biology.
Fine,
more than
fine.
physics.
Biology still
So
has to deal with time.
is continuation. Well, you're going somewhere with this, so I'll let you go.
No, I want to know what you understand by time.
Well, I'd like to know what time it is now, actually.
It's 1740.
1740. Right, I've got to go at 6. 'Cause we're at train
Okay, got 20 minutes.
Yeah. Right. So time is
Is a measurement of something?
measurement of.
Of what? As a biologist, you deal with measurements, many measurements.
Yeah.
So what's time measurement of? If I say time is a measurement of change, would you agree or disagree?
Of what?
Change. Transformations.
No, not really.
Okay, so what is the time measurement of?
Come on, you know.
I'm just wondering where he's going. I'm trying to think.
It's not about where it's
The
going.
relationship between the Earth and the Sun.
That was a bit simplistic.
That's what time is.
So if there was no sun and the earth, there would be no time.
Correct.
Wrong.
What time is?
No, there would.
There would not be time. Time is a construct by humans,
Yes,
where we
but you
measure
don't-
the
you
relationship between the sun and the earth. That's
Yeah,
exactly what time is.
No.
It doesn't exist outside
No,
that.
no, it does. It
How?
exists because 14 billion years ago, the
14
Earth
billion
didn't
years,
exist.
14 billion years
Even
ago
the
doesn't
sun
make any
didn't
sense
exist.
in that context at all. That doesn't make any sense.
Go and
It's
go and
nonsense.
speak to
It's
physicists.
complete nonsense to say 14 billion years
right.
before the existence of the Earth.
Because I'm let's go
Yeah.
with the
So why do you not agree that time is actually a measurement of change? So when, for example, now and 20 minutes later, the change would have happened. There will be lots of change happening. Change has happened, and we've gone outside those changes. Now they have gone bygone, they are past.
Because you were,
And
the
we
way
live.
you're presenting that, it's as though you're trying to narrowly put time into just this change time is, and that's it, and it's more than that.
It's not more. I mean, what do you understand? Because that then will help us understand about our universe, whether our universe was always there or not. So, since nothingness doesn't exist in reality, and something exists now,
Can
Do
we get
you-
can we get onto God? I'm waiting to get
Yes,
onto
let-
God.
what
as
is
a
what
scientist,
is
so-
God? What is God?
I don't know. You're
You're the one who
believing
believes in God.
No,
You should tell
I'm
him.
waiting
So,
for you
so
to,
that's why
to give me your
we need to go through a scientific process of understanding
no,
the reality.
no,
because that's the only thing that works with a scientist, right? Are you a philosopher or a scientist, or both?
Well, science is natural philosophy, isn't it?
But are you actually trained philosopher?
No, I'm a scientist.
Good, so a scientist. So what will work best with you in terms of interacting with you will be science, the scientific processes, and that's how we will do. So I am going to go
No,
through a
what would
process.
work best is you simply to tell me what you believe and why.
That doesn't work with the scientists.
It does
Scientists
work with the scientists.
accept evidence,
Yes.
not common sense.
But evidence is common sense. It's like this is the evidence, and common sense says that you accept it.
Isn't there many things in science that goes against common sense?
Go on then.
Isn't there many things in science that goes against common sense?
It's what? Sorry.
Aren't there many things in science that goes against common sense?
The science is a methodology, and the methodology is based
I am saying,
on common
aren't
sense.
there many things that we accept due to science, but that really goes against common sense? I can give you examples.
Go on then, give me an example.
Do you know of any?
You said you could give me an example. I said, please give me an example.
Do you know of any as a scientist?
I
Do you know of any?
I can't think of any at the moment. So
Do you
I'll
know of
let
any?
you-
Yeah,
I'll
there-
let
Depends
you-
how you
there are
define
lots of-
common
I'll
sense.
let
They have
you-
quantum
I'll let you-
tunneling on other
depends
things.
how you
Okay,
define common sense.
let's understand something.
Because all this
Do you want to give?
obscure,
Okay.
obscure
So we,
answers
we,
like
we,
this.
we have a physicist among us, which is very good, as a scientist, biologist, and a physicist.
Yeah. So
you
before,
wanna explain?
before going to understand what common sense is, so common sense is built on the view we usually observe on common ground or observe in the common people side. Now, no.
That's what common sense is.
Common sense is that.
Yeah.
So now you have something. If I throw a ball on a wall, and then it will just reflect back. Do you
It will
understand
bounce
that?
back, right?
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah, bounce back. So this is our common sense. We say that if there is a hurdle or barrier, and if we throw something, our common sense tells that it will be reflected back or bounce back.
Under certain conditions.
Yeah, under certain conditions. Yeah, if this is hard and solid. Yeah,
Yeah, there has to be gravity and air resistance.
If you throw something in a
Yeah,
black
this is-
hole, what happens?
we are talking about common people, so we're living in art, so it is wall on the
holes
art,
are
it is not. So it
pictures
is
of
common
thing
sense.
is,
Yeah, it's common
I'm not
sense.
interested in discussing
We are not. We are
science.
talking about common.
I'm
We're
interested
not
in
talking about
what you
specific
believe and
situations.
why.
No,
as a
no, no,
Muslim.
no, no.
Can
Give
I
me
just
give me
ask you
some
a question?
example.
Can I ask you a simple question?
Now in quantum realm,
Let's
we have
example
particles
first.
which can.
Yeah, and
Which
I'm not
can-
interested in
which
quantum.
can-
I've only
let's
got
leave quantum-
20
let's leave
minutes
quantum
to
out of
go.
it.
15
And
perhaps.
I'm
No,
like
it's
15, yeah.
physics.
So
It's
please
physics
just
and
explain.
science.
Let's
what
jump.
you
Let's
So
cut to the
in
chase. I've
science,
got to go
things
5
can
minutes.
go.
Let me ask
In
you a question.
science, things
Okay, just
can
one
go
second.
against common sense.
Okay.
So you, as a scientist, you should have common
heard
sense
him.
about these scientific facts. Science works
It's
for.
just
No, sorry,
obscurantism,
no,
it's
sorry.
just
You're not
avoid
interested
the
in what you're saying.
subject.
No,
It's
sorry.
going on about the same thing.
No,
Let me ask
you
you,
are
let me
claiming
ask
that
you a question.
everything is nonsense, and then you are claiming
one
that you
said
are
everything is
scientists,
nonsense.
and
Everything
not
is-
understanding basics of
everything is
science.
a human
Okay, okay.
How science
All right.
works.
Okay.
Let me ask you.
Sir.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask
What
you a
is
question.
the question you
Insult
want to
me.
ask?
Here's my
Intellectual.
question.
Okay,
It's a
what is
very
the question you
simple-
want
It's
to
a very
ask?
simple question.
Let's
right?
hope so.
According to a lot of most religious people, Muslims and Jews,
Yeah.
Christians, they believe that there is something which we call God, which is some kind of higher intelligence, right? We don't exactly what it is, right? But it's an intelligence that's creative force, right? And it's the creative force behind everything in the universe. You, me, ants, the atoms, the trees, yeah? This is a creative force, okay? Whatever that means. Now, according to my understanding of a religious Muslim, yeah, you believe the same creative force that made this amazing, crazy universe also told some words to the mind of a guy called Muhammad, blessed be him, peace, whatever you say, yeah, and that these words were then written down in this book called the Quran. And what we're basically saying is that the Quran, yes, is from the same creative space, mind, as the universe. That's otherwise the God, Allah, right? The best work he could think of, yeah, or she could think of, to come and deliver to humanity in Arabic was the Quran, right? Now, when I read the Quran, right, I look at the universe, which is amazing. I look at the Quran, I'm like, meh. You know, you could do better, I could do better, he could write a better book than that. It hasn't had an update for 1400 years. It's causing a lot of mess in this planet because lots of people who've been in the Quran, like a significant number of them in different countries, are committing vile acts of disgusting violence and saying Allahu Akbar. So how do you reconcile your belief that the Quran is the greatest work of the greatest mind, God, yeah, and yet the results, and no disrespect to Muslims, when I read it, I find it a diabolical creation compared to the universe.
Okay.
That's my question.
Very good question. How many mistakes and errors did you make in that question? Did you count? Or have you lost counts?
Don't be arrogant and rude.
No. I'm
He
making
does this all the time.
Hang on,
He just
excuse me,
You're
excuse
just being
me.
obnoxious. I'm asking you a question in
I am
good
going to
faith,
answer.
and you're being
Not in
obnoxious
good
and
faith.
rude.
Let- okay,
And you're
let me-
supposed to be a good Muslim.
Let me
Oh,
help
not
you
in
with
good
them.
faith. Oh, how do you know it's not in good faith?
Let me-
What does good faith
You
even
have
mean
made
to
lots
you?
Let me-
of assumptions.
Tell me.
How long have I known you for in this park?
I have no idea how long you've known me in this park.
Only today?
No, you've seen me around before.
Many years.
Have you ever answered a
Right.
question in your life?
I am about to answer if you're going to listen.
Go on
You've got
then.
10 more minutes maybe
Okay.
perhaps. So the idea that you have, the construct in your question, the assumption, the Quran is the greatest book, greatest work of God, false. Quran is the communication, the final communication from God. Yeah, from our Creator, the final. It's not just its greatest. In fact, all of these things that you see, this is the creation of God, okay?
That's Joseph Smith, actually.
Yeah, go on, go on.
Right. So the thing that you've read the Quran, no, you haven't read the Quran. You've read translations, perhaps in the languages that you know of, translations, and you've misunderstood those translations, what it has to say. And based on the actions of certain ignorant, emotional individuals, the fringe group, you then say, this is what the Quran say, and I can match one with the other, and that's why Quran is a diabolical, this book and that book, and you don't agree with. And
It's open to
you said,
interpretation. It's open to interpretation.
and you said-
There's been no updates for 1400 years.
and you said you can write a better book. Guess what? The Quran is such a book that you cannot even construct or compose it.
Crass, it's
Um,
It's a
ridiculous.
terrible
excuse me.
book.
Terrible book.
It's awful.
That's the problem. That's
It's
the problem.
full of
Your
nasty, violent
your-
hatred towards
your-
nonsense without
non-believers.
Your
realizing even
value
that.
judgment.
Yeah,
Look at it.
so-
Look at what he's saying. Your value judgment of a book. comes from your
Come
total.
from reading a
Comes
translation
from-
of it.
Yeah,
Your comes from what? You know,
from a better understanding of the world than Muhammad could ever have had in
Excuse
his
me.
time.
Let me give
That's
you.
where it
Okay.
comes from.
The Quran says.
You
I want-
you have more knowledge
Can
than
I
you
can
yourself
I
have
can
more
I
knowledge
can I
than Muhammad
reply?
ever had.
Can I reply rather than being interrupted? The Quran says, to give you an English translation of the meaning, have the unbelievers. That's like two. Have they not known that the heavens and the earth was joined together as one piece, and God parted it asunder and brought every living thing from water? Would they then not believe? Now let's deal with that.
Go read more than one.
Wait.
It says that in the Torah, which I learned as a kid.
Did
Yeah, 10 to 6.
did
Yes.
did is that information nonsense
It
or
also,
something
the Quran
significant?
says lots of things, including
That
unbelievers
information-
should be punished.
Vacuous
The-
crap.
The information about the origin of the heavens and the earth being united in one piece, and then, well, excuse me, you're a biologist, right?
What usable technology do you get out of that information?
One second.
You
one
don't get
sec-
anything out of
One
that
moment.
information.
I'm gonna.
It's vacuous nonsense.
Why don't you listen to the example first? So the Quran says that. So I would like you to tell me, when the Quran says this, the origin of the heavens and the earth, all the planetary bodies, the stars, the galaxies, the earth, everything was actually in a
Go study
joint-
astronomy.
Uh,
Go to a university.
excuse me.
Understand the accretion.
You're not letting me.
Understand
You're not letting
how-
me even
What's your
address the
point?
question.
What is your point?
My question
What
to
do you
you.
know? What's your point?
My question to you is, how do you explain the knowledge of the common origin of our cosmos, which we have now confirmed through the redshift?
I have read the Quran. I know what nonsense it says.
One second. Have we confirmed that our
We haven't
universe?
confirmed anything in the Quran.
You're not
You're
answering
not
the question.
listening, are you?
You're filming this,
You're not-
and people
you're
are
not-
watching it, and they're
you're
like,
not-
come on, answer the
You're not
bloody
listening, are you?
question.
Here's
He's
my
not
point.
answering. He's asking
Here's
stupid
my
questions
point.
Well, then I've got 5
about
minutes.
something
Yeah, I
in the
know.
Quran.
So in your valuable
He's
5
not
minutes,
answering it.
here's
It's
something
so
there.
annoying.
I'm saying, do we know now, using our scientific tools
I'm
and
gonna walk
technology,
away. I'm going to walk
that
away.
the Earth, the solar system,
I know.
the
No
Milky
one's
Way,
holding
the
you here
galaxies,
either.
all of them were actually
You are. You're complaining
in
about me.
one point, united at one point. Do we know that? Yes, we do.
Well, we know that the universe started at the Big Bang, yeah.
We do now know, right?
We
have
don't
we have
know
control.
that. It's a theory.
Well, it's a theory.
Oh, now it's
don't
become
know
a
that
theory.
It's the best explanation that we have based on the evidence that we have
Correct,
at the moment.
correct.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
since
But
this
the
is our...
Quran doesn't say that. You
Hang on,
need
hang on.
to really disrespectfully misinterpret the Quran for it to even approach saying anything
Okay.
like that.
What did I misinterpret in the translation that I gave of a
Well,
Quranic
Guys,
text?
the translation
why would Allah give a book in Arabic
So-
to a bunch of desert people 1600
listen,
years ago?
so when the
And
Quran
we're
said
here,
that,
we don't speak Arabic.
are you-
What's
are you-
the-
are you
Hang
listening?
on, what's the
No,
idea
because
here?
Are you
I'm going
listening?
now. I want to go and see Bob.
Are you really a biologist?
Yeah. Why?
Because I doubt very much so. Because it doesn't reflect your level of intelligence for having a discussion.
Here we go with that, Holmes.
It's not ad hominem.
All right, guys,
Because,
I'd like to
because,
say,
because
a little
you're not even
political
you're not getting a
statement.
discussion.
A little political statement on the cameras here to you and every Muslim and that Palestinian lover over here, right?
Yeah.
As a Zionist, right? I just want to say, yeah.
Okay.
that Palestinians-
Okay, see you later. No. We're
Palestinians
not giving you
are
a free
human
time.
beings who are suffering the most
People
appalling
have
conditions in Gaza. And if you
nonsense
care,
people
we don't
are
want to-
care
who
about
even do not
Palestinian
understand
people.
basic
If
things
you
about
care
time,
and love
and
them,
they
what
claim
to
that
survive those left.
No one's going to listen to him. I've got the mic.
Yeah.
Release of hostages and the immediate surrender.
Don't go yet.
To the ideas.
I have things to say. Let him finish.
Hamas surrender so that they can be released.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I'm still live recording. Okay.
Violent genocide and creature.
Okay. Does he not realize no one's hearing him because I've got the mic? This is the level of intelligence these people have.
This person has claimed that time definition of time related with existence of sun and earth.
Yes.
And how is
So,
stupid this? And they are
these-
claiming that they are from scientific background.
Look at that.
This
These
nonsense.
people claim to be intelligent, scientists. Definition of time, time is related only for him to the earth and the sun. When I said, what if the earth and the sun wasn't there? Would there be no time? And he doesn't realize his voice is not going to be picked up because I've moved away from him and the mic is on me. And he keeps talking. So all the people who are just listening to his mouth movement, he wasn't talking much sense anyway. Okay? So just to sum up and so on, we are trying to have a discussion with someone who claims to be a scientist and biologist specifically to understand about the world and whether there's a creator of the world or not. So I gave an example so he can relate to about how, because this gentleman asked a question in the middle. I mean, how is this Quran a book from he doesn't accept the Quran any significant for humanity? I gave an example of a verse from the Quran translated in English, the language that both of them are able to understand, I hope, about the common origin of the universe and about life coming from, source from water. He heard that and still it didn't click on him. Like, how can a book 1,500 years almost ago say such a thing that we recently, in his lifetime, he came to know and confirm? In his lifetime. His grandfathers didn't know that. They weren't sure that this was the origin of our universe. And yet, knowing this information in his lifetime, he is so against this book. This is not about someone being open-minded and having an intellectual, scientific rigor in understanding reality. This is close-mindedness. This is bigotry. This is hatred of Islam. This is hatred of the book that God has sent. It is anti-religion. It is anti-Islam, Islamophobia, if you want to call all of this. It has nothing to do with love of reality, love of science and knowledge and acquiring the truth. It's all a smokescreen. So whenever we want to have a discussion with them, look at the level of their intelligence. Yeah, he's gone. I mean, should we next time check their IQ level, every atheist that comes, and see, and you know, because...
No, I think the discussion tells us the IQ level.
He was claiming that everything you are saying...
We let the people judge.
Yeah, but it's to spare the people from losing their brain cells. I mean, I often hear from the comments, people are saying, I lost a lot of the brain cells today. We want to spare that. Perhaps you're going to have some IQ question and say, okay, if you really think you're smart, okay, let's prove it. Let's prove it. And then if you're up to a certain level, maybe 94, 95, maybe about 97, then we can talk. Otherwise, there's no point talking with someone who's going to be like someone who hasn't got a clue about anything. So
he didn't know nothing.
Yeah, if you didn't know the meaning of nothing, then...
Yeah. So the reason why we bring out nothing, because nothingness, which doesn't really exist in reality because it's an absence of everything, it cannot make anything. So could it make the universe, which is there? The answer is, of course, no. So they have no other option to accept that the universe wasn't made by nothing. So either it was made by something or it was always there. That's the two options. If it's always there, that they know is problematic and they can't really justify that position. What's left? Something else. Someone else made it. Well, who or what that could be, they know that's the end of their game they're playing. It is going to be a originator, a creator, a maker of this universe who has will, self-consciousness or self-awareness, who has power and ability, who has knowledge and wisdom. These things will be required to make this universe. And what are these characteristics? The attributes of a creator. So they know already the moment they start talking about the world is the moment they accept that there's a creator. But they don't want to go through this process. And that's why we want to ask them, we question them, are you really a biologist? Because if you're really a biologist, you would have known this design already. But you give this design to something that doesn't even exist. That doesn't have a brain, that doesn't have any neurons. You see, not, oh, evolution designed it. Guess what? Evolution is not a conscious entity. It doesn't have brains. Does it have neurons? Does it have self-awareness? It doesn't even know it exists. And yet they say, it designed it. Imagine you have a guy called evolution, and he hasn't studied science, electronics, physics, or maths, and you've given him all these pieces of parts of a mobile phone, and you say, go and make it. Evolution says, yeah, I don't know anything. I haven't got any knowledge anyway. And he makes an iPhone. Would he be able to make an iPhone? This guy called evolution? What's worse, they don't believe evolution is a guy or a girl. They believe evolution is a process only with no intelligence. And yet it made all these beautiful designs in the living organisms. The irony of intelligent bankruptcy. So may Allah, our creator of the universe, guide us and start guiding us through our common sense first. Let people have the common sense come back first. Then through the use of common sense and the intellect, the aql, the faculty of reason and rationality starts playing, and let people then use that to come to the realization of the truth. And the truth is, as you will realize, only in the unadulterated form or reality, what we call Islam, the final message from the Creator, with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the final book, the Quran. This is where you will find the truth. Nowhere else. Everywhere else, there will be the convoluted version of truth mixed with falsehood. Either man-made or divinely truth that was sent, but mixed up with falsehood, and that's why people are in their confusions. So we invite you to become Muslims. Yes, we would like you to become Muslims. For what? So that you save yourself from the punishment of hellfire, and it's no joke. You and I will die one day. Do you think I'm going to live forever? Do you think you're going to live forever? You watching, do you think you're going to live forever? You're not going to live forever. You're going to die one day, and that's the reality. What's going to happen to you once you die? Do you even have a clue? You think that's it? No purpose? Even your shoe had a purpose. Your shoe had a purpose. And you think you have no purpose? The way sophisticated human beings have been designed, and yet you don't think you have a purpose in life, and you really think you fulfilled your purpose by being happy? That wasn't the purpose. Your purpose was to fulfill the purpose that was set by God, to worship Him, to be grateful to Him, to give Him the right that is due, to acknowledge that He is your Creator, and obey Him, and follow Him. But you haven't done so. If you don't do that, then do you think you will be saved in the hellfire? From the hellfire in the hereafter? Because there is going to be a hereafter. This life is not going to be the end of everything, and you know that very well. Because when was the last time you said, I want this to last forever? Where did you get this concept from? You are happy, and you said, I want it to last forever. I want to be in love forever. Yes, there will be forever life, but not in this one. It will be in the hereafter, but it will be either in a place of eternal torment, suffering, pain, punishment, or you can choose to go to another place which is forever, in a place of tranquility, peace, contentment, joy, happiness, felicity. You can choose which places you want to go to. Today, accepting Islam will save you from the hellfire. If you die in a state of disbelief, you've made yourself to be recipient of that punishment. You cannot have an excuse, because you're watching us, you're listening to us, and you know the message of Islam is to surrender and submit yourself and to worship that one and one God only, and alone, without any partners being ascribed, and live your life accordingly. You heard the message. You cannot have an excuse in the hereafter saying, I didn't know. Or it was my forefathers that did it. It was my parents. It was my society. I was misled by Satan. I was misled by rock and roll, drugs, women. That will not be an excuse, because God is constantly guiding you, telling you, giving you guidance. Remember last time? It clicked on you. You were doing something wrong and you realized that wasn't the right thing to do. That was the guidance from God. Do you remember that? Yes, exactly that. You knew that you shouldn't have done that. But you still said, no. You brushed it off. You're saying, no. I'm going to carry on my stealing, my lying, my oppression, my killing, my raping, my looting, and all these things that people constantly do in this life. All these vices that you do. But God constantly reminds you, even internally to yourself, because you have what we call the fitrah, the internal disposition to know God, to even know some of the basic elements of right and wrong. You know lying is wrong. And you know that to lie, you have to really do something to your prefrontal cortex and then lie. Speaking the truth is easy, lying is not. You have to manipulate your functionality of your neurons and your brain cells to lie. And yet you lie because you become habitually so used to it. So what we're saying is, don't go with the flow, because most of the people are on the wrong path, because they're not using their akal, their intellect, and they're not following the prophets and messengers. When is the last time you picked up a copy of the Quran? Those who don't believe in any religion. But you read Harry Potter. You watched the movies and the likes. The Quran is believed and followed by 1/4 of the world population. And you didn't even bother thinking, why do they do that? Why do 1/4 of the world population read this book and follow this book, considering it, believing it to be a revelation? 1/4, billions of people. You didn't even bother examining this book. Even common sense tells you what is in that book, that 1 in 4 people accept it. And you think you're smarter than them? You're smarter than a billion people? Well, maybe you are. But where is your level of intelligence and smartness, if I want to use it, by not even reading this book? If you're smart, you should have read that book. The 2 gentlemen that we talked about earlier on, did they even read it with a sense of understanding what it said? When the Quran said, be kind to your parents, they would say, we disagree. Do you know why they disagree? Because they don't like their parents. They want to put their parents in an old sleeping home because they're a burden on them. When they got married, we don't want to know you. Maybe I will send a Christmas card or a Mother's Day card or whatever. That's it. But they know when the Quran says these things, it is the deep truth. It is the sad truth for them. When the Quran says, be a firm witness, even if it goes against you, against your family, your kith and kin, they know you cannot have anything more just than that. And they say, Quran is all about this diabolical, this book, that book. They know the message, but they reject it knowing the truth in it. So the people who will go in hellfire, it's not every one of you, by the way. If you become arrogant and stubborn and reject the truth, then you will be justifiable to go to hellfire. That's the one-way ticket. Don't be arrogant, don't be stubborn, and don't have that pride that you are your own creator, your own God. So this is our message of Islam to you in a simple nutshell, that Islam is being free from the slavery of the creation. Being free from the slavery of worshipping your boss, your country, your football star, your film star, whatever it might be, but removing from that shackles of enslavement and freeing from all of this and submit and surrender to the will of your Creator and be grateful to Him. That is Islam, and that is what we are inviting to. So this is what we are going to leave you with, and I'm going to ask my brothers to add something to this, inshallah, so that you can really start thinking now before it's too late.
Alhamdulillah, I think we should always be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with this deen. And that's the reason we say Alhamdulillah ala ni'matil Islam. Don't take it as something that has been given to you because you're born into it or you adopted it or something. So don't take it for granted. So the message to add to that is not only keep the message to yourself, but to spread it. The reason we want to spread the message is because we want everyone to have what we have. We want to share the good news of Islam and to have eternal bliss for everyone. That is what we want to do. But obviously there will be many people who will reject the clear message of the Quran, the clear message that the Prophet peace be upon him came with, and they will be the ones responsible for their own detrimental, eternal damnation. No one else should be responsible for that, other than obviously the shaitan and themselves, is because on that day when you stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, so death is certain for all of us, regardless of your belief or disbelief. But when on the day of judgment, when the people will be gathered, and when you're standing in front of Allah, in front of the Almighty God, what are you going to say for the reason that you rejected deliberately the worship to obey the will of the Almighty in this world? Because remember, this world is not going to last. You're not going to last. Both are going to come to an end. So what is certain is the life after death is certain, and the question is, what have you done to prepare for that eternal life? You have done a lot to prepare for your life in this world, to prepare for your children, to prepare for your family. But the question that should come to your mind is, what have you done in preparation for the real life? I say real life is because this life is temporary. But the real life is the one that comes after you die, which is going to be eternal. So please ask yourself this question. If you haven't prepared for it, then what are you going to answer on the day of judgment when Allah asks you, what have you done? How have you spent your money, your wealth, your health, and the life that God has blessed you with in this world? So make sure you have an answer to that. Because if you don't, then be prepared for the eternal damnation, and the only one accountable for that on the day of judgment will be yourself. Even the shaitan will distance himself from you. On the day of judgment, he will tell you that, I didn't force you, I did not impose anything on you. Yes, if I actually misled you, you still did it willingly. You were not imposed, you were not forced to do so. So even the shaitan, who has been your companion in this world, showing you ways, every way possible how you can disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like that man we were speaking to earlier. They go and analyze everything about this world. But when it comes to logic, when it comes to rationality, they let go of it when it comes to their own self, about their own existence, their own creation. They don't want to know that. They think all of this just popped into existence. That matter and molecules all of a sudden had life in it. Yeah? By the process of evolution, or whatever they want to call it. They always mistake the process, the mechanism, with the agent. They think it's the same thing. It's not. So this is common sense. Come to the understanding that all of this existence didn't just pop into existence one day. It has a cause, and the cause is none other than Almighty God, who is the supernatural being, if you want to call it, intelligent designer, if you want to call it. But this God Almighty, or as the Muslims call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the one who is the cause of all of this existence, and He is the one who is going to hold you and me accountable on that day. So make sure you have a response on that day. So Jazakallah khairan.
I want to hear, Brother Sarwar, please add something, especially being a physicist yourself. You can stay here. Okay.
So I want to add like this. So whatever we agree about knowing something or deciding something, we have the beautiful gift of intellect. So we have to use this intellect to decide understanding our reality and our future, our purpose, kind of thing, our dignity, and what brings us into our real true self and real identity. If we attach ourselves towards creation or temporary things and run after that or run for that, then we are going to be perished with that perishable things. Now we have to understand and be little bit of sensible, in the sense that if we care about our dignity, whatever we have obtained, if we care about our self-respect, if we care about our intellect, then we should not run after or go after something that will destroy those things. Rather, we should look for, search for the source of this dignity, source of this honor as a human, and that is coming from, and these things are coming from the source, which we say that the originator, creator, sustainer of this world, the most merciful, the most high, the most perfect. Allah. So now, if we follow him, then we can use our will responsibly and a dignified way that will keep our dignity intact in this life and after this life, in a dignified environment that is called Jannah. And if we do not care about this dignity which has been given to us, these capabilities, and use we do not use this responsibly, and we destroy ourselves or destroy these things irresponsibly, then we are going to be humiliated in this life, suffer, we will face suffering of different kind, worshipping and binding of different kind that will make your life hell mentally or physically, and in this life and also after that life. So we will not have any kind of justification that we have been given this result of humiliation rather than of giving the dignified environment or dignified life. Whatever we have been given, we should appreciate that and care about that. And if we do that, then this reward will come to us.